Hey everybody, how are you? Sorry for a few minutes late. You know, when you work at home, you go to work when the heck you feel like it, apparently. Hello, Claude. Hello, Heather. I'm Robinson. I'm so happy to be here because I haven't been on Zoom all week. Okay, so I'm lying. I try to match with my face mask since I'm home with my family. I don't have to have my face mask on unless they think I've been someplace that wasn't necessarily safe, and then they quarantine me. My face mask, don't take this as any hint because it is a Tito's vodka bandana, and it is cocktail hour someplace, and it is date night someplace. And we're going to talk about those people that have a date every date night because they're a couple. And they're going to give us some advice about being a couple during these quarantine times. And they come from UCAN, and this is part of a series that UCAN is offering just to give you a little something else to do while we are sheltering in place. You may know UCAN and think of it only as a youth-serving organization, but they really serve the entire family. They're about the health of an entire community. So whatever that takes, whether it's the little bitty baby or the grandma and grandpa, 150 years they're celebrating this year. And it's interesting to me that their moniker spells UCAN. Our hashtag tonight, you can do this, you with the letter U. And they don't like me to bring up what it used to stand for, because back in the day, people used different terms. We don't ever hear the term orphanage anymore, right? We don't ever hear certain, asylum, that kind of thing. But it was the Ulrich Children's Home or something, whatever it was all about serving orphans. And this is 150 years ago. And now we realize that people who lack family might all be considered orphans. And in this quarantine time, some of us feel orphaned all the time. I think people would be jealous of folks like Heather and Claude. Let me see your masks, you guys. Who can make them bigger for the audience? Look at that. Wait, is it leather? Is that appropriate? Is that keeps the stuff out?
Yep.
It's got a filter
carbon
inside.
filter, oil infused filter.
Lavender.
Lavender to calm you down, because we all need a little calming down these days. I love that. So one of the pastimes we have, you can put it aside for now because I know you're safe there. And it looks like you have, like, I don't know, the hottest nanny in town. Who's that picture of behind you there? That's a beautiful woman. So I know you're a big art enthusiast. Tell me about that.
So this is from the Gerald Griffin collection, Breakfast at Tiana's, one of his signature pieces.
Wow, I love Gerald Griffin. I love him on Facebook. Hopefully he's joining us for this webinar. You can do it, a quarantine couple. So you guys are what I would call extroverts, right? So I got a meme recently that said, all you introverts, check on your extrovert friends. They're not okay. All right, this staying in thing is hard on those of us who are kind of outsized personalities and roles. Heather Ireland Robinson is, heads one of the iconic institutions here in Chicago, the Jazz Institute. And, that's to make sure that we don't have stolen from us the real roots and history of what created jazz. Am I right?
You're absolutely right. Absolutely right. And we're making sure we have our hashtag, keep the music playing, because even though spring is past us, you go to our website, you're on our Facebook page, there are concerts, there are lessons for young people. We are keeping it going for our audiences, but for our musicians too, so that they can still gig and still have opportunities to play. So we're gonna keep it going until the world tells us, that we have to stop being inside, but we're gonna keep it going.
Look, I've said I wish I was quarantined with a musician. Wouldn't that be fabulous? They can play for you, but I guess they also got to eat, right? So if you don't work, you don't eat. So we have to support them. And I know you're being innovative, and opportunities for us to appreciate, to applaud, and to get what music brings us, because we need some of that too. We need some healing. Some people call them the mental health issues of the silent pandemic, right? It's how we're feeling. So, and Claude, of course, everybody knows you and the great work you do at UCAN, which somehow is like it's fingers of UCAN reaching out into the broader city, just doing good every place. and then it kind of comes back to you and UCAN, right? So you spread the message of, but you also spread the heart of UCAN. So tell us how things are going there at UCAN. You know, you have a residential facility, of a campus where you care for young people who are at high risk, right? Who have been through some extreme traumas, and they come out on the other side, as we've seen for the last few years. I've done your Youth Leadership Awards, and it is just the most amazing to see, like, where you start and where you end up with the right opportunity, nurturing, right, and environment. So how are things going there?
So things are going good. 70% of our work are still essential. So only 25% of the agency is sheltered at home. We have a resident treatment facility, 90 foster homes with about 150 young people in there. We still do a lot of violence intervention and prevention work, and have TLPs, transitional living program homes. And then we're also still doing a lot of workforce development work. So we're still out doing what we should be doing as an organization. We can do this, just like we're talking about. You can do this. Definitely want to do our part and do more for the city of Chicago.
Well, I'm thinking that with all these people who are considered essential, right? That means basically your entire staff. I happened to be on a Zoom call with you day before yesterday, and you were on one of those mobile Zoom calls with your phone holding out here, and you're walking around out front, and you had boxes and boxes that were being delivered externally. What was that?
So we pivoted some of the work that we're doing, always focused on how we can be the best for community in a neighborly way. And we formed a partnership with Claude Robinson and the Greater Chicago Food Depository to get food out to the North Lawndale community, to some of our foster families, and then even in Roseland, some of the work that we're doing. So what you saw that day.
West side to the south side.
Yeah, we were delivering 150 boxes, and we partnered with about 11 different organizations. So it's not just we're trying to provide for UCAN. We're working with the faith community, the nonprofits, other elected officials to get food out, and math as well.
Okay. So you did mention, a friend of ours from the Greater Chicago Area Food Depository, Nicole Robinson. I just want everybody to know this is not like a conspiracy for the Robinson clan to take over the world. All our cousins doing all kinds of things. And probably if we go back far enough, we will find some sort of cousinness going on there. But she's been doing great work at the Food Depository for years. And truly, Claude and I, as far as we know, are not related. But we are, okay? We are all related. And as we are finding in this time of the pandemic, everybody, when we say we're all in this together, that doesn't matter how rich you are, doesn't matter where you come from, you are still, it could happen to you, right? It kind of brings it home that we, the entire earth, right? Not just our tribe, not just our immediate family, we are all related, because if everyone isn't really taking the precautions we need to be taken, then we are all at greater risk. And I think there's been a lot of talk about, well, these people over there aren't listening, these people over here aren't listening, but you know what, they may not have the same resources to do what we're doing, right? If you're sheltered at home and your home is one room with 6 people, how are you gonna work that out, right? And you're wondering, when is UCAN gonna show up with our food, because you don't have the capacity. There are people who live in Chicago with houses with no running water, no electricity, but that to them is better than being in a facility, right? That's still home. So we do have to think about, people who are, and somebody said, in some ways, if you didn't have a lot, this sheltering in place stuff, so what's different, right? So we can't go there, we can't go there, it's those of us who have had the privilege of being so mobile that really feel shut down. As a couple, the two of you. So I know we know, I know that you know what we're probably going to talk about, but I'm just going to warn you ahead of time that you may feel like this is confessions of a quarantine couple, because I got some questions for you. You ready? First of all, who stays home most?
I do.
You do.
You mean who stays home at this point in time?
At this point,
this point in
for
time?
the quarantine, I'm home the most. I have the luxury of having a job that can be done remotely. And as Claude, our drum major, as we call him, has said, he's really on the front line. The work that he's doing is essential. He's even added in some, you know, extra special things for staff that he does. And so he is out in the streets more because of this situation. But normally, you know, my job is jazz. We've got concerts at night. We've got weekend things. And so I'm typically out evening board meetings and things like that. So usually I'm out in the evenings and on the weekends more.
Okay, so I think a lot of people are in that situation where one person is more out and one person is kind of in. Now, if you were a stay-at-home mom, when the dad or stay-at-home parent, or get our language right, when the other parent came home that evening, it'd be like, here, take your kids. I gotta go sit down and get a glass of wine. So what is it like when, because you're working from home, but you have a small child, one?
We have 3 children.
Hey!
We have a 3-year-old girl, we have a 9-year-old son, and a 20 in a few weeks son who's home from college.
Oh, for a minute, I thought you were going to say 20 months, and I was going to say, you know, you want to go to work to rest.
Right. You just need a big old glass of wine right here.
That's right. That's right. Look, so no one's ever seen me take a picture with a drink. Y'all know that, but these are new times. We're in COVID quarantine, and it's after hours. And okay, all right. Oh, so Claude's got his water. That's all right. This is apple juice. So, Claude, when you get home from work, so first of all, is there any, you know what, he's been out there, who knows what he's bringing in here with him? Do you have like a decontamination center right outside your front door? What do you do? And then do you need to decompress?
Yeah, so we had somewhat of a little disagreement on this based on how we see the pandemic. And it's more of a calling for me. Whether I work at UCAN or not, there's a need, and I hear a clarion call, and I gotta be there. So when I think one of the first times I was like, I'm out. I gotta go to work. Heather was like,
so calling, clarion call, all that's really the foundation of our relationship. Like, I get it, and so we start with that foundation. So I think I waited like 2 days, and I was like, by the way, the wife in me wants to say, I don't want you to go out. Like, I just had to be honest. And at first I kept it inside. Like, I don't want him to go out as a wife, as the father of our children. And I was able to articulate that to him, though. Like, I have to be honest. I can't hold it in anymore. Like, go forth and save the world. The weight that I carry is the worry. What's going to happen if you get sick, you bring it home? We don't know. Yes, the kids want to rush them when they get home. Wait, let daddy, okay, we got hand sanitizer everywhere. So balancing that support with the worry and the concern and a little envy, like, I can't go out, like, I can't get no fresh air, drive down Lakeshore Drive, and I had to check myself, but we can talk about that. It took me a couple days, though. I said, I can't start this by saying all of those things. I got to let him minister and do his job. I signed up for this. But luckily, because of the way we communicate, I was running water for our daughter, and he came in and said something, and I was like, I just have to say, this is really weighing on me. Like, this is the burden that I'm carrying with this. And we were able to talk it through.
Because you had a little pride too there, didn't you, as well, that that's his heart.
I can't be Coretta Scott King and tell Martin not to go to the thing. Who am I to say, look at Coretta sitting up there saying, Betty survives, Malcolm can't go, what?
That's right. Zoom it in, baby. You don't have to go. All right. And then.
And I would say, I listened and I heard what Heather was saying, but then I also had to let her know that I'm probably the disinfectant PPE king. I'm spraying folks at work.
Right.
Just don't inject anybody.
Right. Crazy stuff like that. But we have protocol, and what's funny just about or I guess disappointing about the whole thing is, if you sneeze, that means your body's working actually, but then people are like, oh shit, you know, somebody's sneezing, I'm like, spray them down.
That's right. That's right. People are holding in coughs like they something else.
So we're practicing all of the precautions and things like that, and still trying to make the difference that needs to be made at this time.
Okay, you're still French kissing?
Oh, we great on
We
that.
good on that.
Yeah,
On
yeah.
all that.
I mean, on the real, I can, you know, we since we met, one of the things that we did when we talked about our marriage was how do we stay connected. So we grade each other every month on I think it's 7 different categories.
Ooh.
So our sexual life, our spiritual life, our financial life, our intimacy, our level of trust. What's the other? Overall commitment.
An overall commitment.
You know, and we've been doing this for 7 years.
And and I was telling a friend about what we do, and what it really is we're not so much, we're grading each other, but we're really grading the marriage. So it's not like, you got to F in this today because, although it is sometimes that, but it's really like, what's the health of our marriage? How are we doing? And sex life is a part of that. And we're honest about what that means. And we make it a priority because of everything that we have going on to make sure that we're connected.
So and then Robin, since you know people probably want to hear all that, so that song by Kendrick and Soul, where they talk about far away from here, you know, trying to get some because the baby trying to sleep, and now that's how we rock.
We figured it out.
Figure it out.
Yeah.
And I gotta give it to creative Claude. Like he's been keeping those fires, just keeping it creative and interesting. I'll share too. We have a book that we write in that's kind of like letters to each other, and it's things maybe you're too shy to say to the person, or maybe you just want to really have a moment to write it down, and we leave the book in different places. And I wish I had it because it's got a sticker of our faces on it, and Claude did that. And it's just those kind of things really keep us going. The other thing we do kind of on the left brain side is we sit down on Sundays and go through the schedule, and Claude will be like, okay, I got to be in from 9 to 10. I got a Zoom call at this time. We go through it so that we can figure out, okay, who's grabbing her? Okay, what about lunch? What about this? How are we gonna do this? So it's really balanced out. I'm not saying that it's all sunshine and go forth, all is well. I mean, we kind of had to check in yesterday. I was like, this is a lot. Yes, it's balanced, but just being honest with each other about when it needs to swing or the help that we need.
Yeah, see, Heather, I thought everything was moving well and stuff like that, and then I got up getting ready to get moving, and she was like, how come can we talk about getting the dishes done at night more and stuff like that? And then I was like, hold up, can we talk about it? I was like, you cook, but I put all the food away after y'all go to sleep every night, and I put dishes in the dishwasher and put them back and all that every night. And then we kind of had to
our perceptions of all the dishes every night were different. And it hit one morning as I was getting the kids breakfast. I was like, I got to wash out these little bowls, and maybe it was just one time, but it was magnified. And I said it, and I was like, I know he's been out there. You know, I'm recognizing that, but it was like.
But you're tired too. Right? Well, so if I've learned a couple things already, so I love the 7 things, right? And assessing them, even if it's not, you know, so much grading. I think that people are not that deliberate about, you know, keeping their relationships whole and better and better. And that avoids what a lot of people go through, which is the passive aggressive. I'm mad, but I'm not going to tell you why I'm mad. I'm just not speaking to you right now. So that communication being key, and being able to talk about the things, you know, and the other thing, that little book, that's the most romantic thing I've ever heard in my life. I think that you all might want to market that little book, you know, and the 7 things. I have a whole production in my head for you. But how would you describe the climate in your home right now? One being, ooh, man, they just burn it down because it's horrible in here. And 10 being, you know, things couldn't get any better, or a word to describe it, right? What is it? It may be more than one word, but.
I think we're really focused on the kids as well and making sure that things are positive and joyous and normal. So I'm going to give us a 7 to 10. I mean, I don't want anybody to think that it's every day a 10, because there are moments when it is a 1. When I wake up like, really? Again? 3 meals today? And I have grants due, and I got to keep my staff motivated, and my man's going out distributing whatever. And it's, so you have to have outlets for that, whether it's you talk to your girls or, eventually, of course, bring it to him or writing. But I think overall, I still would give us a 7, 8. I mean,
The climate in your home, like how it feels in there. Claude, you too?
I would say an 8, and I would say peaceful and serene. There really aren't a lot of arguments.
Wow. Are there some advantages then? Is there a silver lining maybe to this shelter in place, stay at home thing?
When I talk about, go ahead, you may speak.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So we committed to just having conversations, whatever they are, and not then just lifting up when things aren't going well. Really not taking each other or the blessings that we have for granted. And I think a lot of times that happens. You get comfortable and you get in a little flow and everything. And then it's so many things that are happening that you can pay attention to. And then we have to challenge ourselves sometimes if we start looking at something that may not be going as we want it, and it might be 2 out of 10 things. And then we got to refocus ourselves and say, hey, look at all of these blessings, that we have going on. And let's not allow let what's not working to take over everything that is working. So I would just say it's peaceful. It's warm. And I was telling my staff the other day, and if it's any family members on the call, I'm sure they probably feel this too. I don't like a whole bunch of people over here, to be honest with you. People bring their drama and all that type stuff, and it's a rhythm in our house, and I like that to be, so that we can rest and we can be our authentic selves. And oftentimes, I don't like putting on airs and things like that. So yeah, I've told my staff that before. If I don't, I like all of y'all. All of y'all are my favorites, but I'm probably gonna invite you over here too tough.
Well, okay, now I know which part of the Robinson clan you're from, all right, because that gives me a clue. But the way you describe the demeanor over there makes us all want to come to your house. I just want you to know. But I know everything can't be perfect. There's a joke about 9 months from now it's going to be a whole bunch of quarantine babies, or there's going to be a whole bunch of justifiable homicides and domestic assaults, right? Because people are in there and not necessarily getting along that great all the time and getting a little stir crazy. What's the last argument? And don't count the one about the dishes that he saw as half full and you saw as half empty. What's the last argument that you had? That was and don't tell me, if you say you've never had one, we're gonna shut off the webinar. Everybody's gonna go home. No, I'm just teasing you.
Easter. What happened? Like, look at me.
All right. So Easter. Of course, everything is different. There's no church, except virtual and things like that. And our oldest son is a college basketball player. And for the first 2, he's in New York, so he got out before everything started jumping off.
Right.
Emergency flight and things like that. And he was home, for about 2 weeks. And then he said to me, Dad, I gotta get to work. I gotta get moving. They're still in class and things like that, but his skills and things going into his junior year. And then I was like, hey, let's go. We have a gym and things like that. And let's go and get moving. So it's 3 days a week that we're in the gym. And one of those days is on Sundays. So I actually told Heather, and she knew we were in the gym on Sundays. And we were getting dressed, getting ready to leave.
So
Sunday.
And I respect the fact that Claude told me. I didn't know. And then as we talked about it, I was like, but Easter is not Sunday. Easter is Easter, right? And so, yes, that morning, I'm like, okay, how do I make this as fun as possible for the children? And it's also, admittedly, it's one of my favorite things to do. All of Christmas, the baskets, the parties, that is my jam. And in the beginning of a relationship, I'd be like, join me and buy popsicles for now I just do it, right? And so I had everything set up, and I'm mentally going through, how am I going to get through Easter? I've been up all night, dyeing eggs, watching John Legend on the Resurrection show and trying to figure this out. And then from my perspective, then he came, yeah, so we about to go,
It's like, we're going to hoop.
What? Like, and the way our house is, I don't expect Claude, unless I ask him, he will. I don't expect him to, I made a basket too, and here's the bunny. He don't do, so it wasn't that. It was just, you're gonna leave when I got all this to think about, and on this day, and so I was like, what? I can't have y'all leave today. You cannot leave me by myself on the sacredest of holidays in a pandemic. Sorry. Then when he explained it like he just did, it was a Sunday. By the way, a fox just walked by our window.
They say, we're the ones in, they out.
What was that? It was a straight up fox that went down. Dorian needs to stay active. He is an athlete. He had not been in the gym. He needs to play. It's Sunday. And he was like, Claude gets a high risen voice when he gets it. We gonna be back. So we had to talk about it. And so I got it. And so those kind of things. And I think I stormed around, I steamed for a minute before I was just like, what? You can't leave. And I'm not a you can't leave person. I'm not a you can't, you will not, unless it's something really pressing. So that was a thing on Easter. Yeah.
Okay. All right. But
even like afterwards, I'm still thinking, damn, why is she tripping on that? We ain't going nowhere. No dinner with family, big family or anything. We did the little Easter egg thing out in the yard and all that. And
you're done.
Now we got to go get work in and everything. So, and then we talked about it and we moved past it.
Right.
So we really do try not to argue when something's bothering each of us.
Right.
We really do talk about it. And we may not get past a problem at that point in time, but I think there's an acceptance of where a situation is at. Like bill paying. We had an argument about that. Heather be running from bills.
I do.
You know.
They stack up. You got to stack like this. You know, there are probably a couple late ones.
I'm like, don't touch them. I'll get to them. So
you know,
that's a difference. The Easter thing too. Not that I'm.
See how she moved past.
Yeah, right. Pivot. Come on, Heather.
You will go with me.
I just want to say it ties into how we're different. How we were raised different. I want to be by myself. I don't want a lot of people over versus I got 29 cousins. I have a big family. We're used to doing everything together. And so just dealing, just different perspectives. And the more I can say, oh, that's that only child thing. Oh, that's the basketball is life thing, which is real.
Yeah.
So how do we walk those? How do we walk those?
When we moved in, we did have, I don't know if people saw that when Martin and Gina had all them boxes and stuff like that.
Fighting over whose toaster is better.
Those were we had some of those fights. Hold on to this. It's been in our family forever. Nobody's seen it.
Like you want these nostalgic things.
That's right. You tell them nothing is an heirloom that says Hamilton Beach on it, right? Okay, so I want you to know that Andrea Lee would like for more Claude impressions from you, Heather, when you said his voice gets real high which I thought you're right. So some people get loud. You just change your key a little bit there, Claude.
Right.
But I'm sure you made up for going to play basketball on Easter by coming home and baking the ham and the macaroni and cheese and the sweet potatoes and the greens, right, Claude? I was getting to that. You don't cook.
We just got back from the grocery store with the boys, and I saw Pastor Hall. He came by for a hot second to hand us something. He was like, "Damn, that's a lot of groceries in the back of your truck. What's that bill like?" And I was like, "It's like." So we kind of have a good.
Yeah, I don't expect cooking. When I first met Claude, he had trying to feed his son, now our son, cans of potato. I'd never seen potatoes in a can. A can of steak, and I was like, this man, he protein, carb, veggie, and that boy was eating. And so I'm happy to have taken over, that. I mean, he'll make peanut butter sandwiches for himself, or heat up soup for the kids, or order,
Right.
Can't deal of the night. Hey, I got it. I'll order. Or he'll say, I'm going to bring home food. I'll order food.
So he's never been a guy who cooks, so you wouldn't expect that to change during this time. I have to say that I'm sheltered in with my 2 adult daughters, and they both are good cooks, and they've upped their game. I mean, it's like, let's find a recipe that we can't possibly achieve. I said, I need to practice social distancing from the refrigerator and stove, because this is going to be a problem. So, but have your chores changed at all during this sheltering in place thing?
So they haven't changed. They've just increased because everybody's here all the time. So food, for instance, the lights are on all the damn time, and when they could be off. See Heather's face. Yep, the lights are on all the time.
Got that first gas bill yet?
Yeah. Everybody's on Wi-Fi and things like that. So yeah, I'm taking the trash out a whole lot more, and clothes are being washed over and over and over. So we have a rhythm of who does what. Heather she does her clothes, and then our daughter's clothes, and then our oldest does his, and then I do our 9-year-old son's. So everybody kind of
like that.
Yeah, it's balanced.
But
Yeah.
not that we compete or anything like that, but we fold our stuff up and get it done pretty good, while their stuff is all over the place.
Claude does that. I mean, he'll get in the bed. Come on, boom. You hear him folding the clothes. I got to get this done. Boom. And I'm not trying to sleep. He's folding clothes. He's that annoying guy that like from the beginning to the end, he gets everything put away. I do not.
I understand. They're clean.
Huh?
They're clean. You can put them on.
You gotta fold them then.
He does it from the beginning to end. I'm very impressed. I'm very impressed with this whole laundry story.
But we did talk about this as far as raising boys to be responsible and things. So I have to model to them. So when I say, hey man, go get your clothes folded, go get your stuff done, and they see me doing mine, and end the story right there.
Yeah.
So,
Because
it's in that as well.
Yeah, because it does carry on. I have an ex-husband who I know never saw his father wash a dish in his life. It just wasn't their tradition. And so if you ask him to wash dishes, it's like you were asking him to abdicate the throne. So you do have to show them that it's manly, right? And it's personally, right? It's a courteous thing to be able to take care of yourself, or you'll be looking for somebody to take care of you, and it might not be somebody you need. So yeah. Well, I wonder if you have employees, some who are working at home. And the working at home sounds like, well, I'm happy for you to be able to do that, but it requires a different type of work ethic, doesn't it, Heather? How do you do that? You've got, you said, how old is the baby?
3.
3. Oh yes, energetic. And I met her on Zoom the other night, sweet as she can be. But if she's got a 9-year-old sibling is great, but I'm sure that the not the most favorite thing for them to do is to play with the 3-year-old. Right. So what do you do to try to carve out work time and space?
There are a couple things. One is, luckily they do enjoy being together, and there's been a couple times when Claude's like, I'm gonna take Damani, and I'm like, actually, here it helps, So that's a blessing. Of course, the oldest too. I just have to schedule it out to a T. I've been getting up at 5. And one day there was a grant due, and I worked from 5 a.m. to noon. And I was like, Claude, I got my 7 hours in today, and then I can have the rest of the day. I've been known to get up at 2 just because, and then I'll work until 6 and then go back to sleep. I've actually been on that kind of weird rhythm, I know, since I was pregnant with Devin. So it's trying to carve those things out. If we're lucky enough to stick to the schedule that we set every week, then he's like, I got him. You know, you go ahead and I'll find a place in the house to kind of work. The 9-year-old will kind of do his work with me sometimes, but it is not easy. It's not easy. I've just tried to make it a goal to get between 6 and 8 hours of work done in any 24-hour period. And that changes. Like I said, it's harder for me at my age to stay up late. It's easier for me to get up early. And I'm the only person in my job that has children. Everybody's partnered or something, but I'm the only one that has children. So that's a different, you know, and I'm honest with them. Hey, this is what this looks like for me. I have children. I can't take that call, or I'm making lunch while we're on a call. So it changes all the time. We've actually talked about it a lot, because there's some days where I'm like, I gotta catch up over the next couple of days, and we have to figure that out together, or I have to figure it out for myself. So it's not easy. It's different. And I think talking to other women, I was just on a brief call with some women that have children, and we were talking about like, how are you doing this? How does this work? And it's funny, in the beginning of all these Zoom calls, everybody was, you know, hello, I am here is my home, and I am fully dressed and quiet. Now it's like, my kids are like, hey, can I say hi? Who's that?
Right.
Cats are on and whatnot, and it's humanizing us. And so I'm just trying to be honest with the people that I'm beholden to, as well as myself. I am mothering 24 hours a day now. There is no daycare. There is nobody else. And this is what my life looks like because of that.
Wow. Yeah, working at home, I'm working a little too many hours, I think, because it's like you never get away from the office, so to speak. We got to be, but I've also found that I've done some, you know, I watched more TV, you know, with my young people. I might be persuaded to play a video game with my son. I'm not sure though. Is there anything that you've done that you hadn't done previously? I thought when it all started, I was going to learn a new language and, you know, get to my sewing and all that, but that hasn't worked out. But anything that you've done that you wouldn't have done otherwise that you wanted to do?
Well, on the other side of that is my daughter, the kids are on the iPads a lot more than they ever would have been. And we try to balance it with, no, watch a nature video, watch the Alvin Ailey Dancers Black History, but you know, that doesn't always happen. But they seem okay. They're still learning. We're still doing school stuff. The question was more about, are we doing anything new and different that we didn't do before?
So we before Devin was born, we used to have date night. Tuesdays were date night, and we stuck to it and things like that. Once she was born, it was gone. She's the only girl, the baby girl, so everybody dotes on her, and she takes full advantage of it. So I think one thing that we've done is actually watch TV together a little bit. We just saw Get Out 2 weeks ago.
Doesn't matter how old it is.
Right.
We never saw it. We were gonna go to the movies to see it, and it never happened. So we made a point of doing that, and just really focusing a schedule for us in the house, time. So, and we haven't. In the past, we're moving, doing everything. So we've said that we want to make sure that we stay connected. Because even though you're home, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're growing together. And we've made sure that because it's new, she's the executive director of the Jazz Institute. I'm EVP of External Affairs. We're out morning breakfasts, lunch galas, dinner galas, concerts and stuff, and we would like see each other and just go to sleep. So now we get a chance to see each other more and actually just hang without an agenda or anything.
And I think the children are responding to that. Like, they are, with Dorian being home, it's just like Christmas every day. Like, Santa Claus is here every day. So that's an extra special thing for them. I don't think I said it here, but I said on a call earlier, at one point, Devin just looked up and said, my parents, Mommy, that's my parents. Like, we run a lot. There was one morning we realized Devin was a baby. we didn't see each other the whole morning. Like Devin went in and did her little thing with him, came back. Like we got everybody together, but we had not laid eyes on each other for the full morning. And halfway through the day, I was like, wait a minute, that's typical where we're just passing in the night or just too tired to talk or, connect. So that's special. That is a blessing. That is privilege. And we feel very lucky that we have that.
That's the silver lining that's covering us through this, for sure. There's also, some sadness and some worry and anxiety kind of underlying about, other people that you worry about. How safe are they? We hear every day about someone, maybe 2 or 3 people removed from us who's lost their life or who has the virus, and you're hoping they recover. How do you have any kind of rituals? Do you meditate or anything to try to deal with that underlying anxiety?
So for me, and I just told Heather that the other day, it's Friday today, so probably Tuesday night or Wednesday night, everybody was getting ready to go to bed, and I came upstairs and I put on my headphones and said I'm gonna just listen to Yolanda Adams, like one song. It's one of my favorite songs is her live version of Just a Prayer Away. She going deep and calling, folks. And then it went from, I stayed up for 3 hours adding to my gospel playlist. Tears coming down, thankful and everything. Mighty Clouds of Joy, Florida Mass Choir, Mississippi Mass Choir, Kim McFarland, Darius Brooks. I was like, and then by the time I went upstairs, I couldn't even really go to sleep. And the next morning or whatever, I told Heather, damn, I was in church, and I've actually been there since that time. In playlist, in deep spiritual meditation and discernment. And there's this funny meme that's out with the Chihuahua that's looking like this and says, if something's in your throat, Lord, is that Rona? So shit like that. I ain't trying to catch it. Right. I don't want anybody in the family to catch it. So I'm trusting that God is protecting me. And so that's how anxiousness, worry, or anything like that. I have a radiant certainty that God is there and provided and protected.
All right, you're still careful, and you're still using all the good sense that you've been given, but you use that kind of therapeutic time, right? So it's kind of for a release. I know that there are some folks that would like to ask a couple questions and say, oh wait, somebody's still looking for your impression. How did that go again? All right, so how is it? What does he do when he gets mad or upset?
Hey.
Exactly. So we are taking questions. Do you have specific questions? First of all, I want to know if you'll write down that. Your meme impression of the Chihuahua.
I thought it was my time to shine.
It's like, find it. It's a bunch of people on social media, but it's a meme. It's a Chihuahua, and they're in the car. And the eyes are like this, and it says that face you make when you get a little scratch in your throat. Lord, is that Rona? So yeah.
Well, there's another one with a dog talking about how happy the pets are because people are home. It's to the song "I Will Survive," and it's called "I Will Thrive." My people are home all the time. I don't have to hold my pee. Okay, it's basically the dog is celebrating the fact that their humans are home all the time. So you sometimes have to seek them out and it is some therapy for humor. I love it because we are not in control 100%. We can certainly control what we do and how we do it and how careful we are and how we care for those that we care for. But sometimes people that I care for aren't being careful, and therefore you aren't coming over here, right? So I know a relative, son-in-law, who works in a very public place and didn't seem to think it was that serious to come in and strip down, and nothing comes in the house that went to that job, and we had to have a little intervention and say, look, you got babies, and and so it's and I think that it took a minute for people to start taking this really seriously. But so we be careful, but don't let the anxiety rule you. And you guys seem to be really, I think you're gonna, not that you weren't a super strong couple to begin with, you're just badass all around, but I think that this is almost like a retreat, where you still have your external world, but we appreciate the lessons. I want you to write down those 7 categories, because I think they're pretty super. And I think that, being able to communicate in a nice way is about your relationship is not that common. So we know that Claude and I come from the same family, because sometimes we get to cussing, and you can tell that it comes from way back. So there's a question on the board about how, Heather, do you feel about Claude's potty mouth?
So
we go. I match.
Now, this what's good is I don't think I'm like that here.
I think we curse in the house about the same amount, because I think we curse in the house about the same amount of time, about the same amount. I don't know. I feel like I have a potty mouth too. Who was I talking to recently? I was on a call and somebody dropped a bad word. And I mentioned another coworker that I used to have, like, we're always waiting for him to open up the motherfucker door. Like,
okay.
A meeting, when you're not saying anything, once that first person curses, you're like, cool, that's what we doing?
That's right.
I used to have meetings with, like, he gonna be the first to curse. And then we all feel good about it. So I don't know. Damani got in trouble in preschool for saying, what the hell? The teacher told me, he said, go to hell. And I was like, that doesn't sound like my child. And she said, no, I'm sorry. He said, what the hell? I said, no, we say that in the house all the time. The hell is that? The hell is this? So I think.
And they learned the line too. Like, he'll say what the hell, but he's not going to say who going to open the motherfucking door. Right. They know somehow what to mimic. So another question, do you find that you need to keep alcohol in the house?
I doesn't drink. I do.
She be hiding, whoever asked that question, she be hiding a little flask and stuff over in the corner of the kitchen.
I have an alcohol corner.
And everything like that.
Claude doesn't drink, so I have to have my wine by myself.
That's right, wine. Yeah, wine is an adjective. So I hear that liquor sales are up 70%, which I think that's more about being at home more. I hope it's not people developing bad habits, right? Because we don't want that. So we talked about maybe this strengthening your marriage, and we're wondering, are you going to go back to the way things were when the sheltering in place is over? Or are you going to retain some of these newfound ways of doing things that the stay-at-home has created?
I think we were always doing most of this. I do think it strengthened one thing, and I just want to share this with everybody. One thing this has done, and it may be doing this to you, is it brings up a lot of issue, like any unhealed issue, any little anxieties that you may have had. I feel like this just magnifies them. Like whatever idiosyncrasies we had, I honestly feel that it just makes them that much bigger. And so being able to say, oh, that's my stuff right there. Oh, that's my thing. I think I'm stronger in that, and being able to say, I know this is my thing, but this is what I'm dealing with right now. I'll own it, but we're in this together, and you need to know where I am. Claude is good at saying, what's going on? Like, something feels off. So I don't know if we're doing anything different. It's just modified because we're in the house and together all the time. I don't know if that makes sense.
So probably after, I think it's been hard to find a nanny. We've tried to find someone who we trust and that the kids like, so that we could spend some more time together. So trying to find time to do what we were doing, I think is something we'll definitely look at trying to make happen. Date night again, somehow, for sure.
That's right. Because people who are sheltering in place and not as a couple, date night is off the table. I know people who said, let me hurry up and see who can I find to shelter in place with, because who knows how long this is going to last, right? So may have worked out, for some people, because there may be people who are afraid to commit prior and said, let's just jump in and see how it goes. On the other hand,
out of this year or Shaggy.
Right.
of course, it could also show you that the person you thought you wanted to be with, you can't stand and can't wait for May 30th. But it's either way, it's revealing. Have you found it? For me, it's been revealing. I've spent more time with my grown children than I have in a long time. And it's revealing. We're not just coming and going, ships passing in the night. So would you say, though, go as far as to say, I'm making that assumption that your marriage is stronger? Someone's asking if, do you feel like your marriage is becoming stronger from spending more time together?
I would say so. I mean, I feel like one thing I've always been proud of is that we have a strong marriage. I've felt like it's always been strong. I feel stronger in some ways. So yeah, I think if we had anywhere to go, I think so.
So guess what? My computer power is about to burn out. I'm gonna go get my cord. You guys can see the chat. Can you see the chat?
We're farther back.
I can jump in. I can
we
move.
can take a look and see.
Yeah. So there's a question at the bottom. It's a good one.
Yep. This is how we do.
So what's that one?
Oh, that was Derek asking about the potty mouth. Let's see. Advice to singles trying to date during this time.
I love that.
And a question, of course, about school remote learning.
Okay. So if we do, I would say, Heather, you want to take the remote learning one?
Yes, and I'll be honest, it took us a week to get through. We got an email from our son's teacher, like, where are all the assignments? And we were like, yes, kid, where are all the assignments? And I was like, oh snap, let me figure that out. You know, figuring out Google Hangout and then where the lessons are and getting the rhythm of, is it due every day? Is it due on Fridays? Our college boy, obviously, he's got all his stuff is online. He's self-sufficient with that. We do try to keep it quiet in the house when he's in class. For the 3-year-old, I thought it would be a good idea to like do 1 hour, 2 hours a day of this, and it's just not working. We're doing things like planting seeds. I do try to have her write every day, and we have really in-depth conversations, and so I'm trying to do that kind of learning. But with the 9-year-old, we finally had to set up a schedule. You're in class during the day. You need to get your assignments done for the day that day. Mm-hmm. And he and Claude, or sometimes they write out a schedule the night before, and he really sticks to it when it includes basketball, reading, lunch, snack, free time, and just making sure those assignments are getting done. We got to stay on top of him. Mm-hmm. And the conference today, parent-teacher remote conference, said, you know, hey, he seems to be on it, but it's more about a schedule with him.
And I would say, Damani has we pay for individualized tutoring, and in talking to the founder of Ivy League Tutoring, he said, don't allow CPS to be the only source of learning for your children, because that's not going to help them in the long run. They need other trained professionals that are really helping them develop their intellect. So when he first said that, I was like, wow, that makes a lot of sense, because we're relying on the teachers to teach our kids, and say they're a great teacher and they are doing everything, but they still have a bunch of other kids that they're working on. And I know that other kids that actually achieve great success in education always have had tutors or parents, and you talk about privilege, that are paying a whole lot of money for their kids to be successful in life. So I would say that's something to consider beyond just the learning that you're getting there. And the single thing, I would say spend some time really being brutally honest with yourself about your relationship. What is it that you really desire, and are you willing to wait for it? Because if it's just based on some passions, and you trying to get some and whatever, or you like this person because of this thing or this thing, if you're in a relationship and you want it to be meaningful and fruitful, you've got to like the things that you don't like about them.
Well, I think that one thing about it, you need to be dating by Zoom, right? That way, what you're gonna, and I'm not talking about, computer sex. I'm talking about that you're getting to know them, pretty thoroughly.
Yes.
And anticipation can be a great thing. You got, count down those 5 weeks when you can actually see each other in person, but you can get to know each other. This virtual platform is not so bad. It's different than social media, right? Because it can be very personal. You're not doing it for any kind of audience. I've loved what you talked about, the tutors and what people spend on that. And that's why some of the initiatives that provide free tutoring for those who can't afford it, because it's expensive as hell, right? That's a real equalizer. That's helping to level the playing field. But when you as a parent are the teacher, I may not be able to teach you biology, but we can look at this social science and this literature, and you can hear what my beliefs and value systems are, right? So that as someone who loves you, and you can accept them or not, but at least I know I got it in there. And of course, that homeschooling thing, 2 teachers got fired for being drunk the first day, and all the students said they hope they don't get the same teacher next year. So
I just want to encourage people too to just nurture your children's curiosity and their conversation. Like some of the best times I have with the kids is just we're talking. Like every night, Devin is saying, "Mommy, let's talk," and I really think that they're as smart as they are because we talk to them.
Mm-hmm.
They just be, "Hey, this painting is about this. Hey, a fox just went by. You know that foxes live in," constantly talking to them and realizing that this generation of kids is going to come out of this, we hope, better because of some of this closeness that in a perfect world, this closeness that they've had with their families and that ability to just talk. So take it off the page. Your kids don't see you as a teacher. So I've seen many parents, myself included, you're pulling your hair out that first couple of days. Think of alternate ways of learning and teaching them and just talking to them in a way that maybe you didn't before.
I love this last comment. It's true. You have to be willing to move out of your comfort level. Yes, there is a degree of discomfort to everything we're having to do these days. I really appreciate the 2 of you. You are, I know nobody likes to wear the mantle of role model, but you really do. You give us some things to aspire to, and we understand that you got challenges just like the rest of us, and there could be challenges as a couple quarantine or as a single person being quarantined, but I love your candor, and we appreciate I look forward to seeing you on the other side of all this, but virtually we'll have to do for now. I have been known to just drop by UCAN. So Claude Robinson from UCAN, and we've failed in our mission was to mention you can do it, the hashtag you can do it, all through this conversation, and we just didn't. So
Right.
But you can do it, and there's, like I said, the fact that ended up your moniker is no coincidence. And Heather, the Jazz Institute, keep us on the map and keep the ownership of it, where we know it belongs historically and traditionally, and so we can hear it. All right. And Claude, you need to share that little gospel playlist.
Follow us on Facebook too, so you can hear Jazz Institute, all the things that we're doing, and get your music on.
That's right. You on Facebook, you guys do live Facebook Live performances?
We're doing Facebook Live next month, but yeah, we've got all kind of archival videos, and we've got a special thing that's coming up in May. So absolutely. Yeah.
All right. Very nice. All right. Thank you guys. Be safe. Have a great weekend and enjoy the rest of your date night.
Thank you, Robin. Thank you.
Thanks a lot. We'll see everybody.
Thanks
you all for joining. All right. We'll see you at the next one.
Bye.
Bye-bye.